What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is Muscle, and this is another Two Line Music Hut's Entertainment Report podcast. And today, we have a really special guest in the building. Listen, this man is a singer, songwriter, producer. He's a creative. Listen, he has a new project out with Wayne J called New Millennium, and he had dropped another project last year called Immortal Stepper. Listen, you know who we have in the building today? We have Black Hero in the building today. What's going on, my brother?
What's up? Blessed love, my brother. It's an honor. I've actually been watching a lot of these. Like I watched Protoje's own, and because I really studied the game, so I really use your interviews as a nice point to get some gems. You know what I mean? It's an honor to be here.
Thank you. That's a surprise. You surprised me on that one there still, you know what I mean?
Well, she put me on to you, so I listened to everything while she said, so I just follow it.
Well, she is family, bro, you know what I mean? I'm actually working on some stuff that I got to put out for him. Hopefully I'll finish recording today and it will be out by this week here, you know what I mean?
Okay, straight. I look forward to it.
Black Hero in the building. All right, boss, let's go back to the beginning of this journey here and then bring it right up. What part of Jamaica did you grow up in, and what actually attracted you to music in the first place?
All right. So rewind. 3-year-old, 4-year-old hero. All right, cool. We're in Waterford. I'm originally from Waterford, St. Catherine. So that's where Vybz Kartel, Singer Blinger is from. You know what I mean? Those are the people who made it popular. And I was there, and I was growing up, learning about life, questioning everything, you know, as you should, and you were there hearing sounds, you know. You didn't know I didn't know what music was at that time, but you was always hearing songs, your parents playing songs, your community playing songs. And, you know, you're growing up and you're like, oh, that's cool. But the real interest didn't really start until mom started to, you know, kind of forcibly make you go to church. Like, you know, you go to church, and because you're there every Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday with her, you have to kind of find a reason to be interested in church. And I wasn't really into the preaching aspect, but the drums just caught my attention. I was just like focused on the drums. I was like, yo, how is he doing this?
Yeah.
He looks like he's having fun and he's making sounds. I was like, yo, so from about 7 or 6, I was like really interested in the drums, started playing the Congo drums at church. Then, you know, got a little older, than the band members saw that I was just always playing the drums. So I was like, yo, come and join the bigger musicians and learn how to play the drums. And I swear to you, when I look back, I think that was the starting point for me. Just that moment of falling in love with the drums, starting to play the drums, singing at the youth choir, learning about different things. That was the seed that was really planted that 20 years later just activated. So,
it just grew, definitely, for sure. Because even with the drums, did you go to learn it, or it was something that you naturally picked up playing the drums? Yeah,
it was just naturally. I don't know what it was. It was just like at church they don't really teach you by notes. You have to really learn by ear and eye, what you see them do and what you hear. So you kind of get that crash course rough learning of music. So you don't really get that super in-depth, but you get to learn by ear. Like, you know, okay, that's G, that's A, that's a cadence, that pattern, you know what I mean? So it was more of like, yeah, it was just that. You know what I mean? I didn't really learn it like school or anything. It's just, you're there and they tell you, oh, this is a praise break, this is a crescendo, this is, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Okay, and then you just do what you need to do from there and move forward.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. Okay, so then church, drums. So when did you discover Michael Jackson?
Oh man, that's my guy. Even when I hear his name, I get like really excited. Yeah, my mom had like, even though she was a Christian, she liked listening to secular love songs. So songs that could pass in the house, you know what I mean? So she had this CD with like Lionel Richie, Marvin Gaye, Michael Jackson, Akon for some strange reason. And there's some other people, you know, there's some other people there, but Barry White. She just had a mixture, like, you know, and the CD, when I eventually got the CD and started paying attention, every single other artist on it was scratched, but Michael. So I had no choice but to listen all of Michael Jackson's hits over and over. And I was like, yo, this is the only part of the CD that works. So yeah, that was really the starting point. Like, but I didn't know I was gonna fall in love with his music even when I got older. Like, you know, you don't really know these things have a long lasting effect until you get older. So, but that was the moment for sure. Cause I remember being younger and I didn't know the words, but I was like, na 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 na, because I just like how it sounded and I was just rocking, but I didn't know the words at all. Is that it? So that was the point. Yeah, my mom gave me a CD and he was the only person left playing on the CD, and that was the introduction.
That was the introduction. Yeah, definitely. And you see the thing with it, you understood back then the feel and the energy of the music, even if you didn't understand the words. You understand. You said this felt good. You like how it felt.
Yeah, for sure. His music is number one. Not gonna lie.
For sure. Yeah. Okay, so then now you said your mom's Christian. You grew up in Waterford where Kartel, Singer Blinger, and all of them were. So besides Michael Jackson, who else influenced you to become this type of artist that you are right now?
There's many, because it's like I'm an album artist. So I really, when I find the artist, I like listen to their discography and kind of absorb, isn't it? So it's weird, even as I get to you, usually I tell you them, but yo, this step on the album, and nobody never really care about that. I just care about the singles. I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. So, but I would say I really love genre benders. Like, that was what stood out to me about the artist I'm about to call. Like, MJ, Vybz Kartel is a genre bender too. Kirk Franklin. I definitely have to put Bob Marley there. And there's one more artist. There's it's a fight. It's literally a fight between D'Angelo and Outkast. You know what I mean? Like, it's literally like those are that's my Mount Rushmore of genre benders. You know what I mean? Like, to be honest, like, they can do anything. Like, they can, you know what I mean? Like, they can sing, they can rap, they can write, some of them can dance, some of them can do everything in one, but those artists are the ones that kind of let me say, yo, I could really be different and not just be one thing or sing about one thing. Like, isn't it? So yeah, for sure. It's a weird mix, but Michael Jackson, Kirk Franklin, as I said, D'Angelo or Outkast, they're really, really like close. Yeah. Then who was I saying again? Bob, and then there's one more. Did I miss somebody?
No, D'Angelo, Outkast, yes. Vybz Kartel, yes. Okay. And do you actually ever meet Vybz Kartel growing up?
Yeah, when I was younger. So, fun fact, like, my mom used to make his mom's clothes. Like, she used to sew for a lot of Christian people, make gowns and hats. So I didn't even know at first, because I used to just deliver the clothes to her, you know what I mean? But then I met him there one time, but it's just by accident. Like, you know, he was just there because she loves him. Like, when you go in her house, it's just like crazy pictures of Vybz Kartel, like in the bathroom, everywhere. Like, so, but he was there, but it wasn't like a meet and I knew that was Kartel. It was more of like a, oh, bless up, you know. It's a mom's very magan, isn't me? Because at that time I knew the sound, but I didn't know what it really looked like for real, like fully in front of my face, like, you know what I mean? And I didn't even know that was Kartel's mom, to be honest. Like, it's just like, oh, I'm gonna drop this off for Miss so and so. All right, cool. Yeah, so I met him that one time, but never.
That's crazy. Again, as you said, you're just in the area dropping off stuff. It doesn't really matter to you, more or less. Okay, here's some stuff from mom, and let's go.
Yeah, and then he's just there. It's like, oh, but you could, as I said, I seen him on the wall, so I'm like, oh, this is their son. All right, cool. You know what I mean? But I just didn't know the magnitude of who he was at the time.
Got you. All right. I want to get into actually your journey to getting into music now, because I know at first you weren't into music. I think you were working in the bank.
Yeah, sure.
How did that happen there? Did you go to college, go to the bank? How did that happen?
All right. So everything is literally one story. It's real life. So I once I start, it's going to reach to how I got into music. So the starting point was being 16, you got all your subjects at school, everybody being surprised, and then your mom is like, oh damn, we didn't even know you were gonna go this far. Like, you know what I mean? So there's no trust there, you know. It's like, I get to youth and how much money there for go college, but I was like, yo, I want to go, I want to try at this. So that's when I tried to go to there's this college in Portmore called Portmore Community College, so PCC. And they had this course where you studied 2 years there and then 2 years at UTEP. So struggling to pay and go through while in the second year, you know, I just realized the situation that, man, I'm not taking a student loan. My mom can't really afford this. My dad is working super hard already. So it's like, all right, I'm gonna try to get a job. So my godmother worked at NCB. So she's like, yo, I'll get you in as an intern and then we'll see where it goes from there. I'm like, all right, cool. One thing about me and my father's bloodline, like we work hard. So it's like when I went to the bank, I was just killing it. I was like breaking records. I was like the best slave ever. I was like, I was going hard. Like, I was really going hard because they were paying you good. And, you know, I'm like, I'm 16, 17, I'm not paying tax, I'm getting paid. And it's at a bank, like I'm getting girls, all kind of things. So it's just like money, everything is like you get it. I'm like, all right, cool. And then 2 years pass by, 3 years pass by. I'm now 19, 20. And I'm like, yo, this sucks. I've been doing the same thing for 36 months. You know what I mean? So it's like, there's no purpose. My dreams are starting to die out. My goals, my aspirations. Now I'm thinking about getting a mortgage at 19. I'm like, what? That's kind of crazy. Like, it's a good thought to have, but I'm like, yo, why am I getting so old so quick? Yeah. Like, what's going on here? And then it's almost like like the same day I had that revelation, it's like a man that's been there for 30 years is looking at me and say, I was in the same spot you were in. And I said, I'm going to give it 2 more years, and 2 more years turn to 30 because you get kids and you get responsibilities and you get comfortable. And I'm like, yo, this can't be a coincidence that this man is the first me and this man at work ever talking is about that. Like, he saw it in my face. I was later for work. There was no drive. It was just, and then, yeah, I just decided like, yo, I'm not a quitter, so I'm going to do everything for these people to get rid of me. Started coming really late, like teaching work, doing all kind of things just to not seem like I was a quitter to my parents at least. This was their dream, like either the bank or a lawyer or doctor.
The standards.
So, but then while I was there, right before they let me go, I met this youth named Capone, but his name now is Boss, so he shoots a lot of the visuals for dancehall artists, right? And when I met him, he was a producer. I wasn't even interested in music. I was just like, because you know your parents always tell you this can't work, and if you don't born in that, it's not gonna work. You're not cartel. All right, cool, mom. So you just never think it was real. But then he was just starting to be a producer, going through the same issues I'm going through, not finding his purpose at this job. And so we ended up linking up really close, went to his ends. And then one night, he just played one of the beats he made, and I just freestyled for like 2 hours. And then he just looked at me and like, no way. This is like, and I was like, yo, I didn't even know I could do that. Like, you know? And then that little seed right there of the man saying, yo, I feel like he can do this. Plus hearing myself, then him he's like, yo, I'm gonna record the first song and make you hear your song. Then we got the studio, we record the song, and I heard myself. I was like, I felt like there was just a switch inside, like, without me even deciding, like, oh, yo, this is it. And I was horrible in it, so it wasn't even like I sounded really good. It was horrible. I was rapping, so it's like twanging with the rap and you know, all of us listen to Lil Wayne, so they're trying to rap it. But it was just a burst of energy that really inspired me, not really the craft at the time. So left work now, I've got through it, can't pay my bills, you know, back to original situation, probably thinking about moving back into moms, about Waterford, all kind of things I'm going, and I just decided I'm gonna rough it out. So that was the journey, the movement from being at the bank, being uninspired, uninterested, to meeting this one youth, you know, with this one person. Yeah. And then now, here I am, 6 years after that. Like, that was 2013, 2014, around there. And now we're here. And it's just like, yeah, and that there's just that one moment, just meeting one person. Like, that's why I know one person can definitely change your life. One moment, isn't it?
It's moments in times. It's who you meet along the journey, the time when you met them, because you might have met these people 1 year before you were ready to quit, and not even quit, get fired. And it wouldn't have moved you because you weren't in that space, but you were in the space, you met the people, and everything just aligned the right way.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't say anything. Perfect.
Yeah.
So that was the movement.
Because I know once you had left the bank, were you living on your own, or you're still living at home at this point here?
No, from the day from we were at the bank, I just left my parents. Because imagine you're working at the bank. Yo, remember, it's like you're in the ghetto. Even though your parents tried to give you what they didn't have, it's still the mindset of, yo, you know what I mean? Like ownership and owning your child. So I was paying bills coming as a working youth, but through I was 16, 17, I couldn't come home past 10 o'clock, bro. Locking gates, I'm sleeping outside for 2 hours and then I have to go work in the morning. Are you crazy? Like, so these are the things I'm like, yo, I'm not doing. So I just, me and my same Virgin couple link up, went to live somewhere in Stony Hill, and that was the start of like a dream that I didn't even know was going to reach as far and can go even further, isn't it?
Yeah, that's crazy, because now, okay, so you left the bank because I know at one point you actually became homeless. What actually led up to you becoming homeless?
So I left my mom while I was working with me and my brother and splitting the bills, right? So now that I'm not working, I couldn't pay my end of the business. So not on purpose, but that created a rift between me and my brethren, with me and a lot of people. Like, you know, you're just not the same person as you was at the bank. You're not paying for everything. You don't have that magic card that the swipes, and you just, you know what I mean? So it's just like life becomes very real for you. You start to realize, oh man, I have such a clean heart. I'm good at this, but it's really money, and it really boils down to this. And, you know, that's even where I started. That's where I even got my name, Black Heroes. I was crying. Like, I'm not even afraid. I was crying in my room. I was like, damn, everybody appreciate me. Everybody, I said, why am I left the bank and turn into this music that now will work? And I was just there. And then a voice just said, yo, bam, Black Hero, and, you know. But to go back to the homeless thing, like, couldn't pay it, couldn't do that. He wanted to go back to his mom so it would be cheaper for him. That left me out there in the cold, you know what I mean? So we had to give up the place. I had to live with some girls at the time, you know what I mean? Just bounce from place to place. You know, the females, the energy always helped me out. That's why I don't disrespect women. They always help me, you see me? So I had to bounce from girl house to girl house, and they slept on Hot 102's radio floor for like a year, and I like slept at the radio station. They didn't even know like I was really sleeping. I used to sleep back in the security guard. We used to bathe in the shower at the back. It was crazy. It was a crazy life. Then when we couldn't get back into the radio station, sometimes we had to sleep in Half Tree or Crossroads. It was crazy, man. I'm not gonna lie. It was like at one point I was like, yo, maybe this ain't gonna work. I was like, yo, maybe I should just go back home and just do that prodigal or something and ask for forgiveness.
But was like, it because you had actually left, you had this career that everybody looks up to, and your mom says yes, and then you decided, hey, I don't want that. I want music. So I guess that created a rift between you and your parents, and they didn't want you back, or you didn't want to go back.
I just didn't want to go back. I couldn't face going back and being like, Mom, like, are you crazy? Like, I didn't make it. I didn't do it. I didn't accomplish it. I'm like, I'm the first one. I'm the firstborn. So I have a huge pride when it comes to my mom and what I want to accomplish, isn't it? Yeah. Like every firstborn, isn't it? So I just didn't want to go back home and tell her, you know, I'm broke because I left the job to pursue music. You know what I mean? But I think they would have let me back in. But it wouldn't be how it would be now. Like, you know, seeing your child on TV and all this different stuff, and now it's real love. Like, they're like, yo, I see it now. When they watch the different interviews, they're like, man, I didn't even understand that's what you're going through. Like, you get me? So, but yeah, man, the homeless part taught me a lot. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. And the trick with it too, when you decided to do music, were you actually, that's when you decided to rap also, or this was after the fact?
For me, it's like me not going to the barber was an economic at first.
Okay.
I'm like, yo, I'm not spending 3, 4, 5 bills on my hair. I don't have that right now. So you know what I mean? So I'm like, yo, I'm gonna make it grow. Then I don't know if it was because it was growing and the frequencies, like the frequencies in my brain just changed. I was seeking different things. I wanted to learn about, like, yo, why do I look like this? Why is my shade like this? Why am I like this? Why can my hair do this? Why do I talk like this? Where am I from? Who am I? And then that's when Rasta like really became a guide and like a doorway to that. You see me? Because it was the only thing you can. It really is the only thing you can go to that directly is connecting you to Africa. Like, you see me? Everything else is all about loopholes, and they mention African countries, whatever. But with Rastafari, they're telling you you're African. It goes direct, and the books are very powerful. So, yeah. So the Rast came about like 2 years after growing my hair, like just soaking up energy first, because I really believe in. I don't like telling lies. Isn't me? I don't like pretending. I don't like if I feel like I don't have to do that, I just leave the situation alone. See me? So if I say I'm going to walk in the faith of Rastafari, I don't want to be fake. I want to know what I'm talking about. I want to know who it is I'm following. What, you know what I mean? So it's like 2 years after is when everything kind of sealed, and I was like, yo, all right, I know enough that I can. If someone asks me about Rastafari, I can show them where to go to get knowledge. You see me? So yeah, it came about 2 years after.
3 years after. Okay, so then now you're in this journey. You started music, everything, Russ and everything. What was your first song that you actually recorded that started to give you some traction?
There was this. All right, outside of the very first song that Capone recorded for me so I could hear myself, there was this song called Herb. That was the very first song I recorded that really showed me that it could really work. Like me and my brother, greatest, who that's my best friend. We made the new Millennium. Like that's my friend. That's from 8 years ago. Yeah. Isn't me? So we made that song in his closet on a hanger with a socks with a condenser mic, and we were like, yo, we're just gonna put it out. We put it out. The industry just literally like reacted like, what is this? And the video was trippy because I'm weird. I like weird stuff. I'm very eclectic. So it's like the video was trippy and it was different and we just looked different. So it's like that was the song that song was so powerful. For one of the first shows that I ever did, I brought Protoje out because he loved that song so much. Like he was like, nah, I'm coming out on stage with you to sing that song. Like, all right, cool. You get me?
Yeah.
Literally, he just came on stage to sing a piece of that song. So I'm like, yo, that song was so powerful. Like, it wasn't no million streams, but within the culture, it felt like I was an underground king. It's like, because it's like everybody was using the flow for the second verse for different songs now, and like people is like, that song was just, because that song is weird. We sampled, I think it was a Curtis Mayfield. We got the thing cleared somehow by some online website thing, and then put it out through TuneCore, something like that.
Yeah, TuneCore, DistroKid, one of those type of distribution.
Yeah, one of those like on that. This was when the independent thing was really just like, this was after Wiz and them really was doing it, and Currency them, you know? So it's like, we were watching them and burning them. And so it was like, yo, let's try this. And it worked. Like, it really worked. Like, I went on tour because of that song. It really worked. So
I'll tell you the funny thing with it. That's when I really discovered you. And it wasn't from the actual video, because it's not until last week I seen the video. It was when you were on BBC One Extra, and it was you, Leela, and Leno Banton. And then you came in and started to DJ Herb. I thought it was a freestyle at that time there. And then when I seen Leela go over Leno's shoulder to actually sing 2 lyrics out of it, I said, this is the song right here. This is crazy right here. Slow down the grammar, and then you slow down too. I said, this man is insane.
Bless up. Yeah. As you see, like the Herb, that led to the BBC Extra with Tada too. Tada loved that song. Like it says like, yeah, that song did a lot. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, and that freestyle was like, I think it's almost at 1 point something something. So it's like, yeah, as I said, one. It only takes one moment.
Yeah, moment in time. A post on Instagram, a video on YouTube, an interview, a conversation, something sparks something, and there you go, right there.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So then the Herb, you said actually that's the one that actually started to bubble now. So then would you say you actually came out the same time like Leela and everybody started to come out at the exact same time there?
I would say, yeah, probably not in the same. All right. I don't know if most people know this, but that me and Dennis and Gracio and Leela at one point had a group called Busway. Like it was like a group. That's how Protoje met all of us. Like we all used to par and used to stay at the same ends. We used to make music together. So yeah, a lot of people don't know like the reason why me and Leela so sick because like we go through the same training. Like the same people who teach her, like me for perform, teach her. Same people we used to see write. Like it's the same energy. Like Wayne J too. Like Wayne J's dad really helped all of us. Like to be honest. Like Wayne J was the young kid doing it with the chicken gun and hit shelling all the shows. And we used to just go around with him and used to bring us on shows. His father used to help us write music. It's like, so we had that click, you know what I mean? Protoje really reached out. Like that's why it's weird. Every interview I do have to pick him up because it's like, I wouldn't be real. You know, what he's doing for Leela, he's done for, and for the other daughters, he's done for all of us. Like he's reached out, he came up to the studio at 3 o'clock in the morning in 2013 or something like that by himself and just met all of us just in Stony Hill and just vibing, you know, and, you know, he's still doing it. She signed now to him and he, like, you know what I mean? So it was that click and that moment and us coming out together that really, that's what everyone is seeing manifest now, even when everybody has their own platform, springboard, like, that's the energy, like Runkus, Royal Blue, Tessellated, we all was like parring, like before we all said, you know, we're gonna hit this switch real serious and everybody starts really going in their zone. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, this new crop, we're all definitely close. Like it's not like when you see each other, it's like, who's that? No, it's like, yo, I want Tess, oh hero, I love it. You know what I mean? So that's what I really love about my generation. It's like we're literally all cool with each other. Like that's crazy.
Yeah, no, that's crazy right there. I had no clue that you were in a group with Leela. It was who? You, Leela, and who else was in it?
Gracio and producer of New Millennium. He goes by the name Greatest, but his name is Dennis. Yeah. I wouldn't say like a music group, it's just an informal group. It's just we just used to par and we just look trippy. I would look cool. Like everybody's just like, yo, what is this? And I say, yo, we're Busway. But we never mean it like a group name. We just say we're a Busway because we're a bar. You know what I mean? And people were just like, yo, that's sick. So, and then, yeah, it just became all of us know who we are. Isn't it? Like that energy, that little spark. There's a different spark you see in me, Wayne J and Leela. Tell it, like, I don't know if it's that training, but when you see up on stage, man, hungry, man, I know, man, we're just hungry. Like, you get me? Yeah.
No, I seen you, trust me, I seen you work, I seen you on stage, I seen you do a couple shows, I've seen you, and I said, okay, you know what? You're the truth right here. You definitely know what you're doing. But what really even, when it came to song, the first song that I heard I had no clue was Feet Don't Fail Me Now. And I'll tell you what it was about that song in particular that really got me. It was the mix. When you dropped out the rhythm, put it back and dropped it out again, that right there to me seemed like one of the craziest things I've ever heard on like as a single. Like, what? That's more of a dub plate mix here. This is how you guys are putting out singles? I said, this is it right here. Feet Don't Fail Me Now. How did you come up with that one there?
That song, I know you was going to ask. I'm even thinking, how did we make Feet? I think that song was a challenge from my live engineer and good friend of mine, Shatter Biggs. He engineers for Chaos Chronics, everybody. So it's like, he's just like, yo, you're weird and you make these cool music. But I need to hear like a reggae song from you, but different. Like, you know what I mean? And he's like, and I used to cuss him and like, Biggs, I don't want to, because I gotta sound like everybody else. I want to be different. And he's like, just take it from me. I said, Bridget, I know you always listen to me. Do something that's you within reggae. And I'm like, he knows me. I will be upset in the moment, and then I'll call him 2 days later and be like, you know, say, right? Like, all right, cool. Let's do this. And he sent me this rhythm. And the Feet Don't Fail rhythm was made by Leroy Simmons. Nobody knows. This is a secret. Yeah. It was made by him and his students and, you know, basic upper garden tone and shutter beats. And when I got the rhythm, I was like, oh, this is nice.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he don't fail me now. And I was like, and I heard that, and I was like, and I called Shutter Beats, and I'm like, yo, hear this. Without even having anything else in the song. It's like, he don't fail me now. It's like, brother, that's it. Just do it. Just finish it. And then we did it. And that song again too was a moment. Because even as I said, no views, no force, nothing. Just the people bootleg that song. They downloaded. Europe put that song at #1 and some like list and stuff. I'm like, yo. So that song again too was a moment I heard. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, because that song,
it was a challenge. It all started as a challenge. Like, yo, I want to hear something like that.
And then you definitely rose to the occasion, because to me, that seems like that would have been could we call that your breakout song there?
Yeah, like that first, yeah, for real. Because the Herb was more underground. Like, if you didn't know what was happening, you wouldn't have known. You see me? But with Feet, it's like, that just went. I don't know where it went. I don't know how it went. It just went places. And you know, when we went on tour with Blue and Runkus, and I sang it at stages like big festivals over there, I could see the reaction, like, oh, this is everybody's song. Okay, cool. All right. So yeah, that song's, I love that.
Yeah, no, big song there. And we're talking about, it's off of this was your first album that you actually put out, was the Immortal Stepper. 14 tracks, baby. 14 crazy tracks right there. All right.
Yeah.
How did you even come up with the name for the album, and why did you figure at this point here you needed a body of work to put out?
I guess since we're far away from, like, it's so much time since it came out, I can say it. To be honest, I'm a very hungry, like, hard-working youth, you know, so a lot of people don't do this, but I do this. I really study everybody in my space, especially in my generation, because I want to be the best. Not to be better than anybody, just to be the best me I can be, you see me? So it's like, when I look in the space, I'm like, all the young guns were just like putting out singles or doing mixtapes or shying away from the title album. Even me, I was running from it too, but that should have came out 2 years ago. So I'm like, before it came out. So it's like, all right, we're just gonna go album. And so much things happened while making that album. So many things happened with that project. I lost the files. My engineer wasn't in Jamaica for most of the time. I don't have a personal studio, so I had to like just be, you know, anywhere you go, you try to make it work within the 1 hour that they give you for free, or, you know, in your friend's closet. But the reason why I still put out the project, because I was just telling the team, like, yo, if we don't put out anything, where's the growth? Where's the, hey, look at me moment? Hey, from what I know about the industry, artists normally put out demo tapes or demo projects to get interest and build interest and get investment, stuff like that. So I took that older model. I was like, yo, even with how it isn't fully mixed and it isn't fully mastered, we're putting it out. Let's see what happens. And I put it out because there's some really good songs on there. So I was like, yo, whatever happens, happens. And then we put it out. And then the response was just great. Like the feedback, nobody cared about the mix. So the best thing for me that happened with that album, it taught me that, oh, I shouldn't be making music for the industry. Like the people who are so super meticulous, like, oh, this doesn't have the right dB and the Q bass and the specific reverb from this specific company. No, I'm making music for the people. They love that album so much. Like when people buy it and listen, they're like, yo, it's crazy. You see me? There's something on it for everybody. So yeah, that album really is living up to its name, which is the Immortal Stepper, because that's how I see myself. I just feel like I'm not gonna die. I'm just always gonna be here. I'm always gonna be moving. And then Steppa in Jamaica is almost like a bad man. So I'm like that immortal gangster in a sense, like, but for righteousness, isn't it? In a sense. Yeah.
I hear you.
That's like a very quick way to describe it, but it's just a forever movement, always going forward. Some similar to Nipsey, like the marathon continues. Yeah,
100%. And one thing I've noticed, because you even said that you like to work. Listen, you see 2019, the amount of music I seen you put out in 2019 and visuals too was freaking amazing. There's a lot of big established artists that did not have the amount of music that you had out for 2019. You understand? That was the plan to really go hard for 2019, or that's just naturally who you are at all times?
Yeah, 29. All right. I feel every artist has this, so it's not like a secret. You need to have a plan. So at the end of 2018, I said to myself, okay, I've done a few shows, I've done some ambassador stuff, I've toured. I want to really see what I can do as a musician. And then as I have my ear close to the space. So people would always say, yeah, he's almost there, he's a good performer, but where's the songs? Like, they always sound unmixed and they always sound, I'm like, all right, because we're struggling over here. But anyways, I just said to myself, okay, for the next 4 years, I'm gonna take myself and my catalog and my team, my sound, my craft, my dedication, my passion to the next level. And I know where I want to be is going to take some time. So I just gave myself that time, like our 2019 stepping stone, building back, put out this album, put out some singles, put out some stuff, visuals, put them out. All right, cool. 2020, everything that happened this year was just in my mind, like bang, 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 bang. Then next year is going to be crazy. Like, it's going to be crazy. So it's like, yeah, it was an active plan to put out and build a serious catalog before my youth is up. I wanted to be a youth with a lot of music. Yeah. I would say 15 have a lot of music.
I would say you're on the right path. Definitely on the right path. Because I know another big song that you did, I seen it on the on-stage performance, was Love. That's another one. Did that come out 2019 or 2020?
Love?
Yeah.
That came out, I think it was 2019. Either the end or the beginning of 2020. One of them. Because it's a juggling, Jamaica has a juggling. So I think Upsetter Music did that one. So I was they put it out. But the reason why I performed that song is because hint, that song is going to be on my album. So it's a powerful song.
Yeah. You
get me? It's a very, very, very powerful song. So I perform that song on any platform I feel goes to the world. Because I just feel it's a universal song. So Love is a hint into what my second album is gonna sound like. If anybody wants to know.
All right, definitely.
The maturity, the content, the writing,
That's big there. And then I know that your longtime collaborator, Wayne J, you just dropped a new project with him called New Millennium. Before we even get into that, how did you connect with Wayne J, and then why did you guys decide to drop a new project right now?
All right, with Wayne now, I always have to keep it honest. Wayne is the first artist that ever brought me up on a show. So, I've known Wayne J from he was 7. He's like 17 now. Yeah, but we didn't do music till now. You see how full circle that is? That's kind of crazy. So, he's same again, Dennis, the Greatest Records. He's my best friend. He's my producer. He's like, if you ask anybody, he's the outside of my girlfriend, he's the only person I'm with. Literally, like I don't really. We're just weird alike. So you know what I mean. Yeah. So he manages Wayne J. So that's that connection right there. Like he's been there with Wayne J from then till now. So I really don't want to give COVID or this pandemic any kudos, but that's the reason why that New Millennium project happened. Like, I was literally at home, haven't seen my bro in a while, haven't seen Wayne J anybody in a while, and I was like, yo, what's going on? Like, it's COVID. Like, what's going on? So I hit up everybody and like, yo, what's going on? Let's link. start to link more and start to vibe. And then I just got the crazy idea like, yo, let's make a dancehall. Let's make some dancehall music. They look at me like, hey, you're over there in reggae, bro. Like, what are you doing? Like, you sure you want to do that? And I'm like, no, it's just music, bro. It's just music. Let's just make music.
Yeah.
And I had the original already, which fully written, done everything. I was like, yo, you want a piece of this?
Yeah.
And Wayne J don't really like when people give him songs. Like, he's like me, he likes to write. But because him, like, you know, it was a good song, he was like, yo, I'll do it. I'm like, so we did the original, heard it, we know we have something. We were like, let's do one more. And then we did the song Young Boss. So we're like, all right, Delicious Vinyl was asking me for some music, and I'm a really good youth. Like, I'm a team player. So I'm like, yo, instead of me giving you my music, let me also, while building our relationship, let me give Wayne J some energy too, because everybody knows him, but he just needs some new content. So I'm like, yo, I'm gonna do a collab project with him. But let's test it with these two songs first, because the people don't like it, it don't make no sense.
Yeah.
So they took original and Young Boss, we come up with some ideas, and we put them out. And yeah, life kind of changed. Life kind of changed after original and Young Boss. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Because I know you guys put out the remix with Skillibeng.
Yeah, like, that's one of the changes. Like, Skilly love Young Boss. Like, you couldn't even pay him to do it. He would have just done it for free. But like, he'd be disrespected if we tried to pay him, because that was his favorite song. But that just means kudos to Delicious Vinyl and the team and us, because he just kept hearing the song in the streets, because we were pushing that song and pushing it and make sure we got it on the radios. And thanks to Sparks and all these other disc jocks that they just said, yo, this is good music, we're gonna play this regardless, isn't it? So, and he just heard it and he was just like, yo, I love it. And then Dennis again met him somewhere in Eastside, like just buying food, approached him. He's like, yo, we rate your thing. And because we rate him, like, me rate Skillibeng a lot.
For sure.
Like, it really remind me of Kartel, isn't it? So in a better way too. So it's like, him see him and say, yo, vibes. And he's like, yo, are you produce Young Boss? And then it's just like, yeah. And he's just like, on to the remix thing now, I'm singing up. And then the rest is just history. And then those three things now gave us enough energy to say, we're going to do a collab project. One hasn't been done in a while, and dancehall hasn't been so clean in a while from a young artist. So we just decided we're gonna do what we do best together, because we both make clean music. We both love dancehall and reggae. So we're just gonna put everything in one go, present it nicely, have some plans and some young entrepreneurial energy behind it, and just see what happens. And yeah, it was nice. It was a nice response. Yeah, it was good.
No, big song. Listen, I have two questions for you before I get you out of here, okay? You working at, because I know your intellect, you could tell just by the way you speak and the way you think, you're very intellectual and you look into things very deeply, all right? What was one main principle you learned from the bank that you actually incorporated either in your everyday life or into your music?
The main thing I learned, and I tell this to everybody, I think every job teaches you that. If the owner for the company is very invested in you being there for 8 hours for his dreams, how much hours should you put into yours? Like, so I look at it and say, I have to at least put in a minimum 9 hours every day into what I love. Like, just like how that boss man has 2,500 people dedicating 9 hours every day for 5 days. That's how he became a billionaire. So I'm like, yo, so if I want to do this, I need to make sure I'm putting in a lot of hours into what I'm doing. If I'm doing overtime, I pay myself extra if I'm doing overtime. And here's me, if I put in the 12 hours, fine. So that's what I learned from the bank. Like, if I can get up at 5:30 every morning to accomplish the next person's dreams, I can do that for myself. Isn't it? Yeah, that's
very, 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 very smart. I got a real random last question here. The person on your wall behind you, Sugar Minott, what does it mean to you?
He's like him and Michael Jackson are fight for it, you know? Fighting for that number one spot. Because ever since I've like fully, like we all know Sugar Minott, but they don't really teach you about him as much as they do Bob. Mm-hmm. So when I fully started to dive into his music and find out that he's really the original dancehall man, I was like, oh, so he's the man accredited with the first dancehall album. Mm-hmm. He's dancehall. So I am dancehall. So it's not just this new sound. It's like, it can be from this time too. Street Sweeper and Greetings and, you know, these songs, like these are dancehall songs. I'm like, yo, oh. So it just, like, it made me see what dancehall was lacking, one. So he's just an eye-opener. He's just a man that made me feel like no matter what, I can make it because his story is interesting. Mm-hmm. It's almost similar to mine. That's why I like him. Like, he had to make his own sound because nobody wanted to play him. He had to become his own producer because nobody wanted to produce him. He had to write his own songs. He had to put on other people because nobody else wanted to put them on. We wouldn't know about Yami Bolo, Junior Reid. We wouldn't know about any tenor saw. We wouldn't know about most of these people without he break the most artists. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, that's me. I want to do that. I want to do all of that. I want to make good music, be a hit, because he took over Japan like how Bob took over America and the rest of the places. So you can be big and successful and still share and still, you know what I mean? That's his thing for me. His thing is not even just music. It's about how he defied the odds. That's really what stands out for me. Like, you know what I mean? And he wasn't signed to no major nothing like nobody else. And he still has that. If you play Sugar Minott in the dance, shut off your bus. Like, that's the truth.
Yeah, you're 100% right. Wow. Conversation, great conversation. The only thing I'm going to ask you for is, before I get out of here, could you give me a piece of Feet Don't Fail Me Now right now?
All right, for sure. Mm-hmm. Oh, tell me, say, feet don't fail me now. Oh, as I trot along way, battle's just begun. Yeah, far from one, but they got nowhere to run, nowhere to run. When muscle goes, bop. Yeah, man, bless up. It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me. And I mean, bless up to everybody who's gonna watch this, who's watching it. And as I said, it's an honor again being here. Isn't it? Like, I feel like this platform is for people who have sense. So I feel like we have sense.
You definitely do. Leave some contact info where they could check out what you have coming up. Because listen, what you have coming up, I heard some sneak previews. It's crazy. Leave some info for them.
Straight. Yeah, man. Bless.
Leave the thing there. Leave some Instagram handles or where they could check out your music.
It's a different kind of spelling, because if I spell Black Hero, you would find Marcus Garvey. You wouldn't find me. Yeah. So it's BLVK and Hero with a 3, isn't it? So once you type in the BLVK, I've practically dominated that spelling. So you should find me. So or just spell Hero with a 3, and you should be good. Like, isn't it? I feel like getting people used to something different. Like, I could have spelled my name BLAK. You get me? I get it. But I just want this whole experience to be different, straight through, isn't it? So yeah, if you really want to connect, find me. Yeah.
Hero, thank you so very much. Listen, this was a great conversation. Let me give you an outro and get you out of here, all right? Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is Muscle, and this has been another Two Line Music Cuts Entertainment Report podcast, and we are out. This podcast is brought to you by www.twolinedmusichut.com.